guys, welcome back to Storybook Crochet. In today's video we are going to be making this tiny ghost witch. If you do want the written pattern for this, you can find it on my Etsy shop, and I will put the link for that down in the descriptions below. So for materials, we are going to need some worsted white yarn, and I am using the brand I Love This Yarn from Hobby Lobby. You're going to need a tiny bit of pink for the cheeks here. You can also use blush if you don't want to crochet the cheeks on. You can use the blush to make those. And so the hat is black. I'm not going to be making a black hat for the video because you won't be able to see the stitches. So for this purpose of this video, I'm going to be making a green hat with a purple bow. Okay, so I'm also using 7mm safety eyes. You're also going to need a US F or 4.0mm crochet hook. You're going to want some scissors and a yarn needle, and then you're also going to need some fiber fill. And optional, if you would like to use a stitch marker, you might want to grab that as well. So let's grab all of those supplies and we will get started. Okay, so to get started, we're going to start with our white yarn, and we are going to start with a magic ring, and in that magic ring we are going to make 6 single crochets. Alright, once you have your 6 made, go ahead and take that tail and give that a pull so that you close that opening. So for round 2, we are going to increase around. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in each of those 6 stitches that we just made. So at the end of round 2, you will have a total of 12 single crochets. Alright, once you have those 12 made, at this point I go ahead and start using my stitch marker, and I put mine at the end of each round that I make. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to start off by making 1 single crochet in our first stitch, and in our second stitch we're going to make an increase. So we'll put 2 single crochets in the second stitch. So 1 single crochet and then increase, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. So again, 1 single crochet, and then you're going to increase in the next stitch. You're going to repeat that pattern around 6 times, and this will give you a total of 18 single crochets. Okay, so now moving on to round 4, we're going to do the same type of pattern, but this time we're going to put 1 single crochet in that first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and then we're going to increase in the third. So we're making 2 single crochets and then an increase. And again, you're just going to repeat that around a total of 6 times. So 2 single crochets and then increase. At the end of round 4, you will have 24 total stitches. So go ahead and work your way around, and I will meet you back at the beginning of round 5. Alright, so for round 5, this will be our last increase round. We are going to do, again, the same type of pattern, but this time we're going to make 3 single crochets. And then, after those 3 are made, you'll increase in the 4th stitch. So just repeating that same pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and then increase in that 4th stitch. At the end of this round, you will have a total of 30 stitches. So again, go ahead and complete that round and we will meet back for round number 6. Okay, so that was our last increase round. So for rounds 6 through 12, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So each of those rounds will be a total of 30 single crochets. So go ahead and do your 7 rounds, that's rounds 6 through 12, and we will meet back to finish off the bottom part of our ghost. Okay, so this is what our little ghost should look like so far. So we have 2 rounds left to finish the main body part of our ghost. So for round 13, we are going to start off by making 3 single crochets. And then we're going to decrease over the next 2. So if you're not sure how to decrease, I'll show you how to do that. You're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, pull your yarn through, and then you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, so the second one that we're working in. Pull your yarn through. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3, and that's how you make a decrease, where you turn those 2 stitches into 1. So you're just going to repeat that pattern around for round 13. So 3 single crochets, and then you're going to decrease. So go ahead and repeat that around 6 times total. At the end of round 13, you will have a total of 24 single crochets made, and I will meet you back, and then we're going to finish off the last round where we're going to make these little like frill on the bottom here. So go ahead and finish that round, and then we'll meet back for that. Okay, so for round 14, which is going to be our last round of this main body part, we are going to be working in the front loop only. So normally when we make that next stitch, we go under both loops here. But for this one, we're just going to go up in between the 2 loops so that only the front one is on your hook. And we'll be doing that for the whole round. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a shell. So for these shells, we're going to be making 5 half double crochets in the next stitch. So all in that one stitch. So go under that front loop. Here, I'll show you real quick how to make a half double crochet. You're going to yarn over, go under that front loop, pull your yarn through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that is a half double crochet. You're going to make 4 more under that same front loop that you just made that one. Okay, so that's what this is going to look like. We have 5 half double crochets in that first stitch under the front loop only. So now we're going to actually skip the next stitch, and in the next one we're going to make a slip stitch in that front loop only. Okay, so we made 5 half double crochet shell, we skipped a stitch, and then we slip stitched. After our slip stitch, we're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to make another shell in the one after that. So make your 5 half double crochets. Okay, once those 5 are made, skip the next stitch, slip stitch in that next front loop. Okay, skip the next one, make your next shell of 5 half double crochets. So you're going to repeat that around, and I will keep that written up on the screen so that you can read that as you're making this last round number 14. And then I'll show you how to finish off, and then we're going to make the base that will close off our ghost here, and we'll put that on later, but we'll go ahead and make it. Alright, once you've made that last slip stitch, we're going to go ahead and finish this part off, and you do not need to cut a long tail on this. We're going to go ahead and weave this in. So you're going to want to grab your yarn needle, and I'm just going to come up through a few rows here And then I'll go through that row back and forth a couple times. All right, and then when you get that done, go ahead and cut that off. And like I said, we're just going to set this aside and make the base, and we're actually going to make all the parts before we sew anything together. So go ahead and grab your white yarn again, and we'll make that base real quick. And this is going to be the same pattern as the first 4 rounds of the body that we made. So we're going to start off with our magic ring, and then we're going to make 6 single crochets in that magic ring. Okay, so we have our 6 made. Let's go ahead and pull that tail closed. And then for round 2, we're going to increase around again. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around, and that will give you a total of 12 single crochets. Okay, so that is round 2. We have 2 more rounds to go. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in here, and we're going to start round 3 with 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to increase in that second stitch. And then just like before, we're going to repeat that around. So 1 single crochet, and then increase in the second. Repeat that 6 times for a total of 18 single crochets. Okay, so we have 1 round left. For round 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets, and then we're going to increase in that third stitch. So again, that's 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then increase in the third. Repeat that around 6 total times, and then you will have a total of 24 single crochets. All right, after you make that last increase, we are going to go ahead and slip stitch to that very first single crochet from this round. And then we are going to cut a longer tail on this one because we will use this tail to sew it onto the main body of our little ghost. At this point, I also go ahead and cut that shorter tail just to get that out of the way. So when we sew this on, we'll sew it on the bottom like this, so that'll be closed. Okay. So you're going to want to grab your color that you're going to make your witch hat in next, and we will get that made. Alright guys, so I decided to go ahead and just make my witch hat the purple instead of the green, just because I think it'll look a little bit nicer. So we're again going to start off with a magic ring, and this time in our magic ring we're going to make 4 single crochets. By making less single crochets in that, it just makes a little bit nicer of a point, and we definitely want a point for our witch hat. Alright, once you have your 4 made, go ahead and pull that closed. So for the next round, round 2, we're going to go ahead and make 1 single crochet in the first stitch. And then in the second stitch, we're going to make an increase. And I know this is kind of tight here, to work in this, but this, like I said, this will help make our point pointier, I guess. Okay, so after your increase, you're going to make another 1 single crochet, and then you're going to increase in that second stitch. So we did 1 single crochet increase, one single crochet increase. Okay, so at this point, I go ahead and take my hook out, and you want to kind of pop that point out. You just kind of got to work it around until it's popped out, okay? And that'll make it easier for the rest of the rounds to work in. Okay, and then I'm also going to cut that short tail just so it's not in my way. All right, for round 3, we're going to start off with 2 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, increase in the third stitch. And then you're going to repeat that one more time. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, increase in the third stitch. And that gives us a total of 8 stitches at this point. So you can kind of see the shape of the hat starting to form now. I'm going to grab my stitch marker here. Okay, so we're going to keep repeating that pattern. So for round 4, we're going to do 3 single crochets. And then we're going to increase in that 4th stitch. And then repeat that again. So 3 single crochets. And then increase in that 4th stitch. And that will give us a total of 10 single crochets. So we're increasing 2 times in each round to build up the top part of our hat. So for round 5, we're going to do 4 single crochets. And then increase in that 5th stitch. And then repeat that one more time. So 4 single crochets, increase in the 5th stitch. Okay, so you're going to repeat that same basic pattern for the next 3 stitches. So I'm just going to write that up on the screen for you, so I'm not just repeating myself over and over again. So in round 8, you'll finish off with 7 single crochets and then increase. And then for rounds 9 and 10, we'll do the brim of the hat. So go ahead and finish off through round 8, and then we'll meet back for that. Okay, so moving on to round 9. Again, for this round, we're going to work in that front loop only. So go just in between the 2 loops and in that front loop, and we're going to increase around. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in every stitch around in that front loop only. And this is going to make the brim of the hat stand out by doing it this way. So go ahead and make all your increases around in every stitch. At the end of this round, you will have a total of 36 single crochets. All right, so this is what our hat looks like so far. So for our very last round, we're just going to slip stitch in each stitch around. So you don't want to make your slip stitches too tight here, so just kind of a medium tension, I guess. And you're going to make 1 slip stitch in every stitch around. And this will just keep your brim from kind of like folding up for your witch hat. So go ahead and work your way around, and then we will come back and we will finish this off and start our bow. So you'll want to grab the color that you want to make your bow. Okay, so here is our hat finished. So once you make that last slip stitch, if you're going to sew the hat on, you'll want to cut a longer tail. If you do not want to sew the hat on, then just cut a shorter one and go ahead and weave that in. I am going to sew mine on though. And that will go on the top like this. Super cute. So let's go ahead and grab our color to make our bow. And I am using this real bright green, and we're going to make a chain first. So you're going to want to chain 6. Okay, once you have those 6 chains made, we're going to start in that second chain from our hook, and we're just going to single crochet across, and this will give you a total of 5 single crochets for row 1. Okay, so then you're going to want to chain 1, and you're going to turn your piece over, and then you're going to single crochet across, so another 5 single crochets. And then you're going to want to do that one more time at the end of this. So we'll have a total of 3 rows of 5 single crochets. Okay, and that finishes off the main part of our bow. So go ahead and cut your tail, and you don't need to cut these long because we're going to go ahead and just weave both of those in. Okay, so grab your yarn needle and weave both of those in real quick, and then I'll show you how to make the center part of our bow. Alright, so this is what we have of our bow so far. So go ahead and grab your same color as your bow, or you could do it a different color, that would be cute too. And you're going to want to grab it, the end of it behind where you want the front of your bow to be, and then we're just going to wrap that around the middle. Just do it, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, just to tighten that and make that bow shape. Okay, so after you do that, cut a little bit longer of a tail, and then you're going to want to grab that yarn needle and then on the back side of the bow, I just go up under what we weaved in to finish off that tail there. And then just weave that through a few times. And then you're just going to want to leave that tail on there because we're going to use that then to sew it onto the hat. And you can kind of adjust your bow as you need to. So that's going to go onto our hat like that. Okay, so the next and last thing that we're going to make is the cheeks. So you're going to want to grab your pink yarn, and then I'll show you how to make those real quick. Okay, so for the cheeks, we're just going to go ahead and start off with a magic ring, and then in that magic ring you're going to want to make 6 single crochets. Okay, and that's all you're going to do for the cheeks. So you're going to make 2 of those. So once you're done, go ahead and pull that tail closed, and then you're going to want to slip stitch to that very first single crochet that you made, and then cut a little bit longer of a tail so you can sew that on. Okay, so go ahead and finish off your second cheek there, and then we will go ahead and start assembling our ghost because we are done crocheting at that point. Alright, so let's start our assembly of our tiny ghost witch. So step 1 is we're going to be putting on the safety eyes. So grab your first eye, and what you're going to want to do is count down between rows 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there's 9 and 10, and then place your first eye. Okay, and then your second eye, you're going to want to have like 2 visible stitches between the 2 eyes. So there's 1 and 2. Okay, so go ahead and place your backs on, and then we will put our cheeks onto our ghost. Alright, step 2, we are going to sew on the cheeks onto our ghost here, and I just place it there and just go around, and I just go up through the center of the ghost here and just work my way around. Okay, so go ahead and sew both of those on, kind of below the eyes and to the side a little bit. And then make sure you weave in those ends, and then we'll move on to our next step. Alright, so for step 3, we're going to go ahead and stuff our ghost with some fiber fill. So you want to make sure it's good and stuffed, nice and firm. It really doesn't take a lot for this little ghost. So go ahead and get that stuffed, and then we're going to sew the base onto our ghost here. Alright, so for the next part, which will be part 4, we're going to take the base that we made and we're going to place it on the bottom part of our ghost. So in that last round of our ghost, we worked in the front loop only, so that for this part where we sew this on, we will be able to work in that back loop to sew on the base. So you're just going to grab that back loop, grab the corresponding loop of the base, and just sew all the way around until the base is completely sewn on to our ghost. Alright, so go ahead and get that sewn on, and then we'll move on to our witch hat. Okay, so here's our ghost so far, and you can kind of like pop that base in a little bit so that it stands kind of up on the little frills there at the bottom. So our next step for assembly is we're going to sew the bow onto the hat. So just grab your bow and your yarn needle, and then find that kind of last row before the brim, and then go through the very back of your bow here, and then kind of weave that through back and forth a couple times, sewing it directly onto the hat. Once you're finished with that, go ahead and weave those ends in, and then our last step is going to be to sew the hat onto the ghost. Alright, so last step, find your placement where you want your hat to be, and I kind of like mine off to the side a little bit. You could do it on the very top, would be cute too. Alright, so how to sew this on is you're just going to kind of work your way around, coming up through the top of the ghost head, and you're just going to want to work that all the way around the hat so that the brim is sewed down completely. Just keep mind of your placement here, but you want to make sure you're grabbing the ghost head before you come back up through that hat. Okay, and then just kind of straighten it out as you go. So go ahead and get the hat sewn on, and then we will come back and we will finish this up. Alright guys, we are finished making our tiny ghost witch. If you enjoyed this pattern, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. That helps me to keep making more videos for you guys. And if you want to be notified of any future patterns that come out immediately, go ahead and hit that bell icon, and that will let you know as soon as a new pattern comes out. I hope you really enjoy this video. Let me know what color you made your witch hat and your bow. I'd love to hear that in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video.